sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Nick family. Appreciate you joining me this morning for my first ever recap show. That was a little sample of my intro show done by Boogie. Appreciate you. Should have the full version soon. So, my hope is to be here every morning after the Knicks play to give you my thoughts on the show. Last night, the Knicks played the Detroit Pistons at Madison Square Garden, and it was a win, 117-96. I'll give you my overall observations on the game, offensively, defensively, some other miscellaneous observation before I get into the other slides where I discuss, the leading scorers, the play of the game, the team stat of the game, and then set us up for our next game against Indiana on Friday. So the Knicks started, Brunson, Fournier, RJ Barrett, Randall, Mitchell Robinson, no surprises there. Detroit started Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Bogdanovich, and Isaiah Stewart. Offensively, let me just get to this. The question of the night, let me say this first, is will the positive trend continue? And I get it. It has to be more than one game for it to be a trend. But anyway, I saw some positive things last night, and I'm wondering, will that continue for the rest of the preseason into the regular season? If it does, it really bodes well for the success of the New York Knicks. So what I saw offensively was ball movement and player movement. The ball didn't stick. It didn't matter who scored as long as we scored. And that was that was something that I liked. I liked the fact that Brunson handled the ball for the most part when he was in the game. Yes, RJ brought it down some. Yes, Randall handled the ball some. But for the most part, it was Brunson. And I like that. Randall played off the ball. That was the question that I had. He's been playing on the ball, facilitating the offense most of the season. Will he be able to play off the ball? And he did. He got 2 3-point shots off a catch and shoot. I believe those passes was for Brunson. They hit him in the post. He faced up, made his move to the basket. At one point, they hit him in the mid post. He was able to do what he does, which is very different than bringing the ball down the court, passing it to the wing, going straight down into the post, asking for the ball back, right? There was some ball movement, and he still got his shots. And, as much as we all may be down on Randall, I'm a Randall supporter, but last season, I had a serious problem with him. This should keep him fresh because he doesn't have to handle the ball all the time. Other people are getting shots, right? So this should keep Randall fresh. If that 3-point shot is going, that to me, that makes Randall better, and that makes the New York Knicks better. And that's all that matters. Shout out to Pudge Nice for rocking with me always. Nick G2K1, appreciate you as well. Khalik Thompson, I hope I got that right. Thank you so much for rocking with me this morning. I know it's early. I'm going to try to get in and out. The other thing that stood out to me offensively was Quickly. Quickly was just stronger, able to, when he drives to the basket, able to absorb contact. Obviously, he shoots free throws very well. But the thing about Quickly, and maybe I'm overstating it at this point, I just think he shoots too much. Like he played 20 minutes, he put up 11 shots, and I think that it's going to be hard for him throughout his career to be an efficient player because of the shots that he's taken. I thought there was a few times he was, seeking contact. He didn't get the call, didn't make the basket. Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this later in the comment, if I'm overstating it. And I think he's going to be fine, but I just wanted to see a bit better shot selection than last night. But again, it's preseason. Everybody is getting their sea legs, so to speak. So I'm not going to put too much into that. The other thing that stood out to me offensively was Hartenstein. Now, he played more minutes than Mitch. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a preseason game. They're going to let Mitchell Robinson kind of ease into it. Mitchell Robinson, from what I understand, is in phenomenal shape. So I don't think that was the issue. But Hartenstein brings something different to us. We've been talking about this in the chat when he was signed, you know, um, through these shows when he was signed, what he's going to bring to the Knicks. But to actually see it, I mean, he had 2 3-point shots, and it's not just his shooting ability that obviously is going to stretch the defense for us. It's going to create space for us, open up those driving lanes, but his passing. He only had 1 assist, but it wasn't for lack of trying. He is a ball mover. So I appreciate what he brings to the Knicks, and I want to see more of it. Shout out to Paris Duggar, who said Quickly's job is to be a microwave scorer. Yeah, I get it. And sometimes with microwave scorers, they either on or they're not, but they're gonna keep shooting. So okay, I mean that's a fair point. I don't want to get too much into RJ Barrett because there's another segment, of the show where I'll talk more about him. But RJ Barrett was sharp. RJ Barrett was efficient. And I'm very encouraged by what I see from RJ Barrett. Let me know in the chat if you're watching this later, comment on what impressed you offensively about the Knicks. If anything, shout out to Jerry B. Nussbaum. I hope I said that right. Isaiah Hartenstein will close games. I think so. Uh, One, he stretches the defense. He could still rebound for you. I believe he had 7 points, 8 points, 7 rebounds, but he did play like, I don't know, 27 minutes or something like that. Yeah, 27 minutes. He had 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. He hit 2 3-pointers and he had an assist in 27 minutes. I do think he will close because I think he can rebound similar to Mitch. He can block shots similar to Mitch, but he gives us another dimension offensively. So and he's a better free throw shooter. Not that much better. I think Mitch shot in the 40s. I think he shot somewhere in the 60s. But I do agree with you, Jeremy. I do think that he will start games. Let me just get to my observations defensively before I move to the next slide where we talk about get into some of the individual stats. What I liked defensively was that everybody was engaged. There was high energy on defense. Now, the question for the show is, will the positive things that we saw last night continue, right? Offensively, the ball movement, people moving without the ball, Julius Randle being okay playing off the ball. Will that continue? And the same thing defensively, the engagement, the energy, people fighting over screens. Was this just a first preseason game sort of thing, or is this something that we're going to see throughout the season? The other thing that stood out to me defensively is that Brunson, even though he's 6'1", they said 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", whatever. He's not a pushover. Now, you may be able to shoot over him, but you're not going to go through him as if he's not there. He's that strong, and in the post, he picked up a charge and he picked up 2 other charges throughout the game. When he got picked off, he fights to get back in the play. He's a tough dude, so I'm not sure how much of a liability he's going to be on defense. Obviously, like I said, you're going to be able to shoot over him. That happened. But as far as getting into the paint, putting the team in full rotation, I'm not sure that's going to happen with with Jalen Brunson at the head of the attack. So we shall see. Pudge Nice, yes, JB took over the game. When he was in there was no question, about who was leading the team. Shout out to Khalid Thompson. The ball movement was very good. I see where Tibbs improved. The ball movement was good, but again, the question: will this continue? And I saw something else from Tibbs that I'm going to get to as well. The other thing that stood out to me defensively was that Randle, when he's engaged, is a very good perimeter defender, a very good one-on-one defender. Now, I think he played 18 minutes. you know, um, will that continue when he's playing 34 minutes, 33 minutes, 35 minutes? You know, I'm hoping that him not having to handle a ball as much, RJ Barrett coming into his own, taking more of the offensive load. Brunson here taking more of the offensive load. The improvement we've seen in Obi, I'll get to that as well. I'm hoping that he'll have more energy to play sustained defense for the entire game. But I was encouraged by what I saw. I wasn't surprised, though. Randall is more about when he does it, if he's going to do it, how willing he is to do it, more than it's about whether or not he can do it. The other thing that stood out to me defensively is Obi Toppin's defense. I thought his team defense was much better. His pick and roll defense was much better. He stayed connected to his guy, at least arm's length connected to his guy. His defensive IQ seems to have improved. He knows where he's supposed to be. He doesn't let his guy just roam off and he's looking like he doesn't know where to go. So that's going to get Obi Toppin more minutes. I mean, if there are more minutes to be had, that's going to get him more minutes. His ability to not be a defensive liability. So I thought that was good. Let me know in the chat if, we're going to talk about Cam. Let me know in the chat if you noticed that about Obi Toppin's defense, if you felt it was better as well. And lastly, obviously, there's more things that I can talk about defensively. If you've noticed something defensively, drop it in the chat, drop it in a comment if you're watching later. But McBride was 6 steals. I mean, we already knew this, right? We already knew he was a very good perimeter defender. But his anticipation defensively in terms of getting into those passing lanes and being able to finish was outstanding. He had 60, excuse me, that would be a bit too much, but he had 6 steals in 22 minutes. Listen, I don't think he's going to be in the rotation. I think Tibbs is going to go with a 10-man rotation, but Tibbs said some positive things about McBride, during training camp. So I think he trusts him more. I think if there is an injury in that guard rotation, I'm not sure Tibbs is gonna hesitate this time to give McBride minutes. I think he hesitated last season, more than hesitated. Like he barely got minutes when we were just decimated at the guard position. I don't think that's gonna be the case this season. I said coming in that McBride would be like super situational, but I'm not sure anymore. I'm not sure. He might just be situational now. So that's my observations offensively and defensively, and just in general. 2 other observations before I get into the leading scorers and talk about that a little bit was that everybody played. Everybody played, and I was surprised. I mean, you would think, why be surprised? This is what happens in a preseason game. Play everybody. It's preseason. But for Tibbs, he tends to like to get that chemistry going. He tends to like to have a set rotation right from the beginning to try to forge that chemistry. And he didn't do that, Even though it was a blowout game, I've seen blowout games in the regular season where the starters are still in there. So maybe this is an indication, not that he's going to, increase his rotation from 10 to 11 to 12. That's not going to happen. I would be shocked if that happened. But if there's a blowout, maybe he'll feel more comfortable taking the starters out, bringing in guys who haven't really played that much and giving them some minutes, resting the guys when the game is out of hand. Maybe he'll play. This is a long shot, but maybe he'll play like a McBride in spot minutes. Like if we're being cooked by an opposing guard, maybe he'll put McBride in for 2, 3, 5 minutes. I mean, that's a lot to ask of McBride to kind of be sitting on the bench game after game and throw him in a situation like that. But if anybody is up for the challenge, I think he would. I think he would be. Let's see what the chat is saying. Appreciate you, Delano Still Jr., for rocking with me this morning. I was impressed specifically with the rebound Obi Toppin got over Bagley, fighting for position, which led to an outlet pass to Rose. Absolutely. Obi has 6 rebounds. He has 6 rebounds in, I forgot how many minutes Obi played. Let me see if I can get that. Obi Toppin played 22 minutes and he has 6 rebounds. And you could say, wow, only 6 rebounds. But for Obi Toppin, that's significant. That's significant. And not only that, he stood in to get the rebound. Right? A lot of time when a shot goes up, you see like 4 Knicks players, you don't even see Obi Toppin because he's already leaking out for the break. But there were a few times at least where he stood in there and stayed in there for the defensive rebound. And I've said, Obi Toppin is quick enough to stay in there, get the rebound, outlet it, to the wing and still beat everybody, up the court and finish. And he did some of that. So there was some really, really good things that I saw from Obi Toppin. And actually, let's stay on Obi a little bit. I saw him fighting in the post, trying to get the ball. He was fighting in the post. They didn't really pass it to him, but he wanted the ball in the post. And I thought that was good for Obi Toppin. The other thing I liked about Obi Toppin was he got the ball on the wing and he, kind of like a little fake, a little jab step, went the other way and dunked the ball. He put the ball on the floor. He did it another time. He didn't make the shot. But that's the versatility that I at least would like to see in Obi Toppin's game. Posting up, putting the ball on the floor, in addition to what he gives us in transition, because we're going to do that. So Obi Toppin looked good. I mean, listen, he has to get sharper with his offensive moves. There may have been some nerves there, but it was just good for me to see the attempts in the post, the attempts putting the ball on the floor, the continuing to shoot the 3-point shot, like really trying to diversify his game and what he brings to the Knicks. And yeah, Walter White, appreciate you for rocking with me this morning. Mitch wanted the ball in the post as well. Matter of fact, I was working last night, so I got to the game late. I didn't bother to started from the beginning. So I think I started it like middle of the first quarter. And what I missed was Mitchell Robinson stealing the ball and going the length of the court for the layup. That takes a lot of coordination to be able to do that. So I'm hoping for big things from Mitch too. And Mitch had 4 rebounds and 3 of them was defensive. Now, I like what he brings in terms of the offensive rebounds. I really like that. But can we get a few defensive rebounds as well? Out of the 4 rebounds, 3 of them were defensive. So I'm liking that in Mitch. And he had 3 block shots, so Mitch played well. And the other thing I'm going to talk about really briefly before I get into the individual stats was Cam twisting his ankle. Like, if it wasn't for bad luck, as far as Cam and the Knicks, he wouldn't have any luck at all. Last season, getting into a little groove, got injured. Last night, stepped on the official's foot, twisted his ankle a little bit. I think the Knicks were just being overly cautious. I think if this was a regular season game, definitely a playoff game, I think he would have been back in the game. So I think he'll be back. I like the fact that, when he was on the break, he could have forced that shot. But he played the right way. He gave the ball to RJ Barrett for the basket. So that tells me that he's not pressed. Like, he's not out there like trying to prove that he could score and he could put points up. He's just playing within the flow of the game. And that play was indicative of that. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Jarrell, appreciate you. Dope Soul Sports Talk. We didn't go on last night. Obviously, the Knicks had a game, but we'll be going on tonight, 9 o'clock. Jarrell is a resident panelist, rocks with me every week. Appreciate you. Good morning. He said Cam and Grimes are going to battle for minutes all season. Whoever is the healthiest wins. I mean, at this point, that's funny. Like, it's not even about their game. Right? I guess both of them could play. It's about who can stay on the floor, right? Grimes, like, he's been here a little over a year. Another injury. Again, maybe they're being super cautious with him as well. All right, let's just talk about, obviously Quentin Grimes was out last night. RJ Barrett, 21 points, 5 rebounds, shot 57.1% from the field, 60% from the three-point line, 100% from the free throw line. He only took 2, but he made both of them in 22 minutes. Julius Randle, 15.6 rebounds, 4 assists in 18 minutes, no turnovers. Jalen Brunson, 16 points, 5 assists. We already knew he was efficient, shot 77.8% from the field, 50% from the three-point line. As a team, the Knicks shot over 50% from 3. They shot 30, almost 38%. They were cooking. Will this continue? Obviously you can't shoot 50% every night, but will the good shooting continue on offense? And a lot of that, and we'll talk about this later on in the show, was that the Knicks had 31, I believe, fast break points, right? Those are layups. That's definitely going to improve your field goal percentage. I'm gonna talk a little bit about RJ Barrett in the next segment. But how do you think Brunson looked? To me, he looked like he's been here all along. He didn't look out of place at all. He handled the ball well. He ran the team well. His footwork was on display. When he got in the lane with the turnaround fadeaway. He's just going to be really good for us. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Brunson took the most shots on the team, quickly put up 11. But, those 3, I think it was like Barrett had 14 shots, Randle maybe 8 shots, Brunson 9 shots. And I think that's how it's going to be. I think those 3 guys are going to take the bulk of the shots. One may take a few more shots than the other on any given night. But for me, those are the horses. If the Knicks are going to make the playoffs, if the Knicks are going to finish in the 6th seed, which some of us are saying, those 3 guys are going to have to really rock. And they were all efficient last night. And what I like about them is that, and this makes the Knicks defense more dynamic, all 3 of them can handle the ball and all 3 of them could play off the ball. So if Brunson is handling the ball, last night we saw Randle catch and shoot, right? We know RJ can catch and shoot. That was on display last night as well. We saw it 2 seasons ago. He can catch and shoot. So if Randle is handling the ball, Brunson can catch and shoot. So that makes the Knicks offense more dynamic. Any one of these guys can bring the ball up, initiate the offense, and they can play off of each other. It is going to be, it's going to be exciting. Let's talk a little bit more about RJ Barrett. Shout out to everybody rocking with me in the chat. Nug E Fresh, appreciate you. Drip Moore, Jermaine Sims, Eddie F, Sharice Duncan, It's Me, Delano Steele. Let me bring up Delano Steele comment. Brunson's development was on display as a floor general. I'm glad we signed him. Wanted him and Bridges during the 2018 draft. You have a very good eye. Actually, JB, aka Footwork. Yeah. First play goes to the front of the cup and drops it in like nothing. Hey, we started a game fast. Yeah. Sharice Duncan, JB is the real deal. No doubt about it. And Jermaine Sims, I totally agree. And we could talk about, and some of us I know are not very happy that Derrick Rose is in the rotation. We kind of wanted IQ to get those backup minutes to Brunson in addition to whatever minutes he can get with Brunson. But you can't argue that if Rose is healthy and you got Brunson and you're backing him up with Rose, that point guard position is locked solid. The point guard position is now a strength for us. Absolutely. After years of it being a liability. Let's talk about RJ Barrett. Again, I read his stats earlier. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, took 14 shots, hit 8 of them, took 5 3-pointers, hit 3 of them, went to the line twice, hit both of them. Very efficient game for RJ Barrett. And the question of the night is, will the positive things that we saw, will they continue for the rest of the preseason into the regular season. RJ Barrett being efficient, I hope, is one of those things that continue. His 3-point shots, most of them was off the catch, but he made them. He drove to the basket. He made the shot. Like, he finished at the rim. What I would like to see a little bit more of him shooting off the dribble. He's been working on that. I think that'll come. I think last night's game just didn't lend itself to that, right? But for the shots that he got, the shots that he took, he was on point. He knows that he needs to be a better free throw shooter. Alan Hahn or was that Wally Serviak and the post-game show said he should be up around 80%. Like, that's a big jump from 71, 72 to 80%. But if he can do that, I'll take it. RJ Barrett led the team in scoring. He led the team in shot attempts. And that may be how it is for the rest of the season. Who knows? I do think it's going to go back and forth between him, Brunson, and Randall. But for me, it doesn't matter as long as they're sharing the ball and as long as the Knicks are winning. Sharice Duncan wasn't feeling IQ last night. Yeah, I talked about that in the beginning. Any thoughts on RJ Barrett? Yeah, Bayside Jr., that's because it was in the flow of the game, as it always is with RJ Barrett. He didn't force anything, but he was efficient. He took 14 shots. He hit 8 of them, right? You can get your points up real fast when you're efficient, right? It's when you got to take 20 shots to get 20 points, right? Because you're 8 for 20 and you went to the line 8 times and you only made, 5 of them. Now, you're in the spotlight. Now you're like, well, he took so many shots. Now you barely even knew, right? Because he got in there, he took his 14 shots, he hit 8 of them. Kudos to RJ Barrett. His 3-point shot looked great and consistent. Yes, it did. Salute to you, Boulevard 73. All right, let's talk a little bit about the team stat of the night. I got the points in the paint highlighted, but I'm going to talk about the fast break points. The Knicks had 31. Now, that's not something in terms of that higher number that I expect to continue. That last season, the Memphis Grizzlies were number 1 in fast break points. And guess how many they scored on average? 17 points, right? So 17 fast break points last year got you to number 1. 12, I believe it was, got you to the top half of the league, right? Last season, the Knicks scored 10.5 points on the fast break and for 25th in the league. Out of 30 teams, they were 25th in fast break points. Last night, they had 31. I don't expect, again, 31 points to continue, but if the Knicks can get 12 fast break points a game, if they can get 14 fast break points a game and things stay pretty much the way it was last season, they'll be in the top half in fast break points. It's always better to score before the other team has the opportunity to set their defense, right? Last season, every possession was hard for the Knicks because they played at a slower pace. The other team got a chance to set their defense, and the Knicks, every time down, had to score against a set defense, right? They're making a concerted effort to push the ball, to play faster. Will that continue? It remains to be seen. And will that continue against a team that's going to provide a bit more resistance than Detroit did, right? So it remains to be seen, but I like it. I think now with Tibbs, this is not going to be a fast break at all costs, right? There are some teams, maybe not last season, but throughout the course of me watching basketball, there have been some teams in the NBA who committed to the fast break, even if it meant higher turnovers. That's not going to be the Knicks. That's not going to be the Knicks. Controlled fast break, pick your spots, don't go crazy, playing fast, throwing up shots all over the place, 1 against 3, like Tibbs is not having that, right? But opportunistic fast breaks, That's control fast breaks. We can get points in transition. That's going to bode well for us. For the most part, last season, it was mostly Obi with fast break points for us. Sometimes, RJ Barrett or Julius Randle would rip the rebound, go coast to coast, get us a basket before the defense set up. But mostly it was against a set defense. So again, I'm not expecting 31 fast break points a night, but if we can, be in the top half of the league in fast break points, that's gonna work well for us. And we got players, Brunson, if he's leading the break, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. His assist to turnover ratio last season was 3.1, which was 20th in the league, right? That means that's 3 assists for every turnover. Salute, Kenny Payne. Appreciate you. That's 3 assists for every turnover, right? And surprisingly, I was surprised at this as well. Emmanuel Quickly has a really good assist to turnover ratio. 2.8 assists per turnover for 32nd in the league. Right? It's pretty good. I know it seems like he's just going out there chucking up shots, but he is a willing passer. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. 2.8 assists per turnover for 32nd in the league. Salute Joe D. McGiver and everybody else rocking with me this morning. In contrast, Randall's assist to turnover ratio was 1.5. So for every turnover, 1.5 assists. Not a good trade-off. He will handle the ball still. And I think some, not as much as last season, but some. And I think that does give us some versatility, right? Who's going to stay in front of Randall when he's ripping the ball off the rebound and going downhill? Nobody, right? I think for him, it's just, are you going to make the right decisions? And if he's handling the ball less, there should be less decision fatigue, right? Last night in 18 minutes, no turnovers. Let's see if that if that continues. That's pretty much what I have, but let me just get to the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Kenny Payne, my Kentucky boys looking good, even Knox with those braids. I didn't see Knox in the game though, but again, I didn't watch I missed the first half of the first quarter. So yes, Walter White, Randall with 0 turnovers. Yeah. Cooking in the third, and he waited his time. Let's see if that continues. When RJ is cooking, when Brunson is cooking, or whether it's if he's in the game with IQ, whoever it is, will he wait his turn? Hartenstein also gets defensive rebound. I'm really impressed with Hartenstein and what he can bring. What he can bring to the team. Shout out to Foxy. Miss you, man. Our second team will have a good pace. They will, but Foxy, you don't think, and this for the rest of the chat, that the first team also will have a good pace? With Brunson at the helm, playing faster, Randall has slimmed down. RJ, he ran at Duke, so I don't think that's going to be a big thing for him. Mitch is in shape as well. Fournier, this wasn't Fournier's, best look, but I'm sure, he knows how to pick his spots, on the break as well. So I don't know. I'm hoping, Foxy, that our first team will have a good pace as well. And there was, I don't know what it is. Is it 2 shots in the ball? Somebody correct me for take fouls. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the last thing. The game stats. Nothing else stood out. We talked about this earlier. RJ Barrett with 14 shots, Julius Randle with 10, Brunson with 9. I think that's kind of how it is going to go. Emmanuel Quickly with 11. Paris Duggan said he's our microwave scorer. So in other words, he going to put him up. And he did. All right. We almost out of here. We play Indiana Next, this will be the slide once we get into the regular season, talking about our opponent. But obviously, none of this is applicable now in the postseason. Last 10 games, conference standings, our record against them this season, offensive, defensive rating. None of that is applicable right now in the preseason. But we play Indiana next. We play them Friday. They have yet to play a preseason game. I think they play Charlotte tonight. So by the time we play them Friday, they will have played a game. What I'm looking for in that game is, how do we defend, stretch fives? Is Mitch up for the task of defending out on the perimeter? Is Hartenstein, up for that? Will we put Randall on Miles Turner? I mean, obviously, you don't want to overreact, but I'm just interested defensively of how we're going to play that. I'm interested to see whether we continue to run the ball and play with pace, even in the half-court offense. I'm interested to see, will there be a lot of player movement? I'm interested to see if Randall will continue being okay playing off the ball, not facilitating the offense. And I want to see more of Mitch, more Obi. A lot of different things I'm looking for in that second game against Indiana. And I'll be back Saturday morning to give you my takes on, that game as well. So let me just give everybody a shout out before I get out of here. Eddie F. Queen, did you notice the no-look backhand pass from the baseline? That was from Derrick Rose. That was a wicked pass at the arc for 3. It was on the money with smoke. He did not need 5 minutes to show he is still D Rose. That pass was just on them. I mean, he was underneath the basket. Hartenstein was at the 3-point line. It was like a backhanded pass, and he got him right in the breadbasket. Wasn't off at all. Yeah, Derrick Rose, when he's healthy, even at this age, he's still somebody that can help the team. So shout out to you, Eddie F. It's me, Delano Still. Obi still needs to work on taking his time when shooting perimeter jumpers. Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to get to. That's a good way to put it. Take your time. 1 3-pointer was an air ball. One, he dribbled in. I was very impressed with the footwork, right? To dribble in, 1 or 2 dribbles and pull up for the shot. But you're right. He just needs to slow down and take his time, because if he's shooting off the dribble, the Knicks are a dangerous team. It's me. Appreciate you. I did like the 2-minute glimpse we got of RJ and Reddish on the floor together. Yeah. And this, the play I was referring to earlier, when Reddish was on the break, he could have tried to finish that himself. He's fighting for minutes. I'm sure he wants to impress the coaching staff and show that he could play. He passed it right back to RJ for the layup, right? Yes, Joel, see you tonight at 9 p.m. Yes, Delano Still. All the former Knicks on the Pistons roster was ruled out due to injury. What a coincidence. Walter White, Randall fumbled and bumbled a bit, though. He did. It's preseason, though. It's preseason, but he did do that. Yep, 0 turnovers. Deuce did his thing. 6 steals. Yep, absolutely. Salute. And then Obi, Deuce, and even Hunt more valuable. I'm not sure what you were referring to. I like Hunt. I just like him as an energy guy. If Cam is with us for the rest of the season, fine. But if he's not, I really would like to see Hunt get some minutes. Just an energy guy, not that he's gonna, he's nowhere near Cam as far as talent, but as an energy guy, I like him. IQ was aggressive on the break. Yeah, IQ got stronger. His ball handling is tighter. He's able to score on all three levels now. Like, he went to the rim once or twice. Do we know the mid-range is there? He can hit the three. For him, it's just about his shot selection, when to take the shot, where to take the shot. RJ Barrett's play of the game was that third quarter baseline drive with the up and under layup on Cade Cunningham. Yeah, that was nice. I'm excited about RJ Barrett this season. And listen, this is what RJ Barrett said in the preseason. He said everybody is looking for players to take a big jump. You know, like, what's wrong with just adding one or two things to your game every season? And before you know it, season after season, you will be there. You know, and I don't know if that was because people were talking about, you know, a lot of the stars have taken big leaps between their third and fourth season, and he was trying to put that to rest, or more likely, this is just how he sees it, how he sees it. And I think he's right. You know, when I hear people say, you know, what did you work on this year? I worked on everything. I'm like, all right, because muscle memory, you got to put in those reps, you know. So how can you work on, you know, everything? You know, you could put some reps, you know, in on a lot of different things, but there got to be one or two things that you're really keying in, on. Anyway, that's all I got today. I appreciate you rocking with me as always. I will be back Saturday morning tonight. Dope Soul Sports Talk, the Just Nickin' Show with me, Stafford Don, Jarrell, the Bowling Chick, now Tsunami Speaks, will be there. And then anybody else who wants to join us, check out this sample of my intro song that Jay Boogie did for me. It's not the whole thing, you know. There'll be a full version and a full video, but this is just a snippet of part of it. Again, I appreciate you rocking with me. I'll see you next time.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.